Hello, today I'm going to show you how I would edit an image like this. So as you can see, there are a lot of greens here and neon green, and the image is evenly lit, so it looks pretty flat. So those are the two things that we are going to work on today, the greens, and also we will learn how to make this image more multidimensional rather than it looking so flat. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is always start with enable profile corrections and make sure that it's straight. And next I'm going to see if she's almost on the line of third, but I'm just going to pull in a little closer that her eyes are also on the line of third. This looks pretty good to me right now. Some things that I will add on the entire image. So I'm gonna increase the contrast. Exposure is pretty good, not gonna touch that. Reduce shadows, reduce blacks. Maybe add just a tiny bit of vibrance. I'm gonna see if reducing the exposure works. All right. Now the main thing about the greens here is these greens actually have a lot of yellow in them. But if I will change yellow, it will also affect all of these colors in here. So in Lightroom, we're only gonna update green, and then I'm gonna change some yellows once I reach the Photoshop. So here, the first thing that I'm gonna do is decrease the luminance of greens and saturation quite a bit. This is already looking so much better. Maybe I'm gonna go and decrease luminance of yellows just a tiny bit, and then maybe take green down a little bit more. All right. Okay, next I'm gonna go to hue and pull greens away from yellow so that they are more cooler than more neon. All right, so this already looks pretty good to me. So this was before and this is after. Now I'm gonna go here. So there are certain things that I always do in Lightroom. So first select the subject and increase contrast here. And another thing that I like to do is sharpen my subject. Okay, next. So light is like right here. As you can see, this area in the picture is already a little bit lighter. So I'm gonna add a radial gradient right above, right here. I'm gonna subtract the subject so that none of the changes go on the subject. I'm gonna reduce the temperature just a tiny bit, increase exposure, and then dehaze it a lot, and maybe reduce the clarity. I think I'm gonna bring it down a little bit. All right, maybe add a little bit pink in here so that greens are reduced. Okay, now as I said, the image is pretty flat. Now this is what I do to make sure the image looks more three-dimensional. So I'm gonna take a big gradient and invert it, and now I'm gonna reduce the exposure and add some vignette. Now in Lightroom you can add vignette from other places too. I like to do it this way because I don't want every corner of my image to get darkened and I never want to darken the place from where the light is coming. So that's why I created this so that this part of the image will not get darkened. So that's what I would do in the Lightroom. It already looks so much better than what we had before. So this was our before and this is after. All right, now I'm gonna take this, maybe one more thing. Gonna reduce just add a little bit of matte effect, and I'm gonna check the sharpening but mask it so that it's only sharpening the subject. And I'm gonna denoise it. Maybe not. I can do it manually. All right. Now I'm gonna take this in Photoshop. All right. So as I said, it is harder to do changes in Lightroom that are like limited to certain areas, but in Photoshop it's easier. So Command J to create a new layer and go to Adjustments, Hue. I'm gonna pick yellows, decrease the lightness, decrease the saturation, and then I don't want my subject to be affected, so select subject, Command J, and pull her up. So this was when the yellows did affect her, but this is when it's not. All right, and now I'm gonna create one more layer, select the yellows, and this time I'm gonna increase the lightness. It's just how it makes the image look so much different. So this was before, this is after, and before and after. All right, I think this looks amazing here, and I'm maybe gonna decrease the opacity just a little bit. All right, and so I'm gonna merge the layers. Okay, now here's an action that I have created, and you can download it for free, but essentially what it does is just adds 3 color overlays. So let me show you what it looks like. So it added blue, pink, and orange, and like pretty subtle differences, but it makes it look like more muted greens the way I like it. So I'm not gonna change anything here. And one more time, Command J. I'm gonna add a vignette again. Let's see what that looks like. All right, this is pretty heavy, so maybe I'm gonna reduce it more. Vignette is essentially just black color that I use, and created this action. All right, looks pretty good. And Command J one more time. I like to sharpen my subject, especially around the eyes. And like her little earring, maybe around her hair a little bit. Her sweater. Okay, and now for the finishing touch, I like to add textures in my images. I'm gonna add Jessica Darson's texture here. Although it is a texture, but what I basically like is how it adds a vignette in the image. I'm actually gonna blur all the texture in here. To do that, Gaussian blur, and change this to soft light. I love how the effect that this adds. Obviously it's too much, so I'm gonna reduce it to 50%, but this was before and this is after. I love how it looks right now. I guess that's all I'm gonna do here. Maybe reduce it a little bit. All right, that's how I will edit this image and save it. goes back to the Lightroom. Okay, so this is our final product, and this is where we started. Thanks for watching.